Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Could you all please come forward? More people coming to the back. Just drink your face.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. So reading from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15, text 7. The Pandavas retire timely. Yat samshayad drupada geham upagatanam Ragyam swayamvar mukhe smaradurmadanam Tejo hitam khalu maya vivassan Dhihatashtamatya Sajji kritena dhanushadhi gata cha Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Only by His merciful strength was I able to vanquish all the lusty princes assembled at the palace of King Drupad. for the selection of the bridegroom. With my bow and arrow pierce the fish target and thereby gain the hand of Draupadi. Purport. Draupadi was the most beautiful daughter of King Drupad, and when she was a young girl, almost all the princes desired her hand. But Drupad Maharaj decided to hand over his daughter to Arjun only, and therefore contrived a peculiar way. There was a fish hanging on the inner roof of the house under the protection of a wheel. Under the condition was that out of the princely order, one must be able to pierce the fish's eye through the wheel of protection, and no one would be allowed to look up at the target. On the ground, there was a water pot in which the target and the wheel were reflected, and one had to fix his aim towards the target by looking at the trembling water in the pot. Maharaj Drupad well knew that only Arjun, or alternately Karna, could successfully carry out the plan. But still, he wanted to hand his daughter to Arjun. And in the assembly of the princely order, when Drishtadumna, the brother of Draupadi, introduced all the princes to his grown-up sister, Karna was also present in the game. But Draupadi tactfully avoided Karna as the rival of Arjun, and she expressed her desire through her brother Drishtadumna that she was unable to accept anyone who was less than a Kshatriya. The Vaishyas and the Shudras are less important than the Kshatriyas. Karna was known as the son of a carpenter who was a Shudra. So Draupadi avoided Karna by this plea. When Arjun, in the dress of a poor Brahmana, pierced the difficult target, everyone was astonished, and all of them, especially Karna, offered a stiff fight to Arjuna. But as usual, by the grace of Krishna, he was able to emerge very successful in the princely fight and thus gain the valuable hand of Krishna or Draupadi. Arjun was lamentingly remembering the incidents in the absence of the Lord, by whose strength only he was so powerful. Hare Krishna. So the background of this story is like this, that the war of Mahabharata has been over for many days now, and almost like 30 years have passed since the battle of Mahabharata. And now the Pandavas are ruling the kingdom of the earth. And somewhere towards the end of their reign, Arjun, they have not heard much from Krishna. So Arjun goes to meet Krishna and his entourage in the kingdom of Dwarka. But now he's been gone for many months, and there is no news coming from Dwarka as to what has happened to either Arjun or Krishna. And after many months, Maharaj Yudhishthira starts observing some very inauspicious signs. He can hear howling sounds of the wind, he can hear the howling of the jackals, and dogs are fighting on the streets, and people are beginning to quarrel more and more with each other. They're losing respect for their elders. So these are certain inauspicious signs which indicate the destruction of a society. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, who has been ruling as an ideal Kshatriya, is becoming increasingly worried. And it is at this time that Arjun arrives from Dwarka. And he gives the news that Krishna has left this world. And that's the reason why they are seeing so many inauspicious signs. Of course, this is also a sign that now Pandavas also have to give up their kingdom. Pandavas' reign was very short, maybe 30-35 years. And now they also have to leave this world. So at this particular time, Arjun is very lamentingly describing the departure of Krishna from this world, Lord Krishna, how he left. So this particular incident, he's remembering how Krishna helped him on so many occasions. Actually, Pandavas were glorious kings. Pandavas were victorious wherever they went. Even though they were cheated by their demonic cousins, they came back victorious. They destroyed all their enemies and they became the rulers of the earth. But here now, Arjun is recounting how the strength of the Pandavas actually came from Krishna only. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the ability in man. So Krishna is the origin of all power. Mamaiva ansha jiva loke jiva bhut sanatana. Krishna is saying, Mamaiva ansha jiva loke, every living entity is a part and parcel of me. The living entity originates from the Supreme Lord. And not only that, he derives all his power from the Supreme memory and knowledge and whatever. So in this particular instance, there's a short story of what really happened. Draupadi was was the daughter of King Drupad, and Drupad was the king of this kingdom called Panchal. So Draupadi was extremely beautiful, and she was also related to Krishna. She was a cousin of Krishna. Naturally, Drupad wanted her to marry Arjun because Arjun was not only an accomplished archer, a prince, but at the same time he was a divine personality. According to the scriptures, Arjun is the human expansion of the sage Narayana. So he's partially divine, he's partially an expansion of Krishna himself. So that was the position of Arjun. So even though Karna was half brother of Arjun and he was equally qualified as a warrior, still neither Drupad nor Draupadi wanted this marriage to happen with Karna. Not because Karna was not good looking or not qualified, but simply because Karna was a demonic personality. Karna had a very despicable character. Even though he was good looking, he was valorous, he was very generous, but still his character was despicable. And therefore, for that particular reason alone, he was unqualified to marry Draupadi. So here we see, for those of us who have studied the Mahabharata, there's a very popular misconception that Draupadi did not want to marry Karna because he was not a Kshatriya. So that is not a fact. Acharyas do not put it this way. Here also it is not mentioned like this. Draupadi did not want to marry Karna because he was a low character. He was demonic in nature. And therefore, she created this whole drama of calling out Karna as not being a Kshatriya. Karna was very much a Kshatriya. Even though he had been raised by Shudras, he was not a Shudra. His character was visible as a Kshatriya. But still, just to get him out of this process, she called him a Shudra. And in this way disqualified him from applying for this process. So not the other way around. So Krishna says, now this is a very important point, that what is the significance of this Varnashram? Here we've been talking so much about spiritual life, spirituality, spirit, soul, and yet we are talking about Varnashram system, which is very much related to the body and the mind. So the Acharyas explain, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. I have created this Varnashram system. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So I have created this system. And it has been created in such a manner that the society functions peacefully. But Krishna also says that I am the creator of the system, but I am not the doer. That I do not belong to any of these varnas, because I am transcendental. So these varna systems depend upon the influence of the modes of material nature on the living entity. If the living entity is under the influence of the mode of goodness, that means he is pure and knowledgeable, then he is called a Brahmana. If he is under the influence of the mode of passion, then Rajoguna. Can someone please close the door? There is too much disturbance coming from outside. Okay. So if the living entity is under the influence of the mode of passion, then he is called a Kshatriya. Kshatrayati iti Kshatriya. Because the Kshatriyas are passionate, they are fearless, they are strong, and they are also egoistic. A Brahmana is under the mode of is under the influence of mode of goodness. A Brahmana, Brahma janat iti Brahmana. A Brahmana understands what is the true nature of life. Brahmana understands the distinction between the body and the soul. The Kshatriya also understands it, but only at a theoretical level. The realization of this truth, that I am not this body, I am the soul, is only with the Brahmanas. Therefore, Brahmanas are at the top of the society. Typically, Brahmanas study the scriptures. They do not acquire wealth. Brahmanas are not meant to be rich, they are meant to be poor actually. Brahmanas are meant to acquire knowledge, and Brahmanas are meant to be teachers. Yajan, Yajan, Patan, Patan. That's their occupation. Kshatriyas, on the other hand, are meant to be administrative and military class. So even though they are knowledgeable, Kshatriyas are not realized, but still they have enough knowledge to respect the Brahmanical culture. So they are the protectors of Brahmana and the protectors of society in general. protectors of the society from both the physical influences of the enemies as well as spiritual protection in terms of protection of dharma. The Vaishyas and the Shudras are not so important. The Vaishyas and Shudras are the bulk of the society. Vaishyas are typically under the influence of the mode of ignorance and passion. Krishi Goraksha Vanijya, agriculture, cow protection, and all kinds of animal protection, and Vanijya, business. This is the purpose of Vaishyas. This is their objective. And Vaishyas, they are the economic backbone of the society. They raise the wealth for the society. And Shudras, their occupation is labor. This doesn't mean that Shudras and Vaishyas are not intelligent, but their intelligence is not on a spiritual platform. For example, you see the magnificent aircrafts flying in the sky. Today, the whole society is Shudra. We don't even have Kshatriyas and Brahmanas. It's just Shudra society with a little bit of traces of other Varnas. But mainly it's Shudra. So for example, if we see this magnificent system, sound system, computers, these are all Shudra instruments. They require intelligence. You need 4, 5 years, 6 years of degree in engineering, technology, science. But all this is Shudra science. Because this is just related to the body and the material manifestations. This has got nothing to do with soul or the spirit. Nothing to do with the higher objectives of life. The designer of the computer is dead. The originator of computer programming is dead. They were born in ignorance and they died in ignorance. We start the invocation by saying Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So we say that I offer my obeisances to my spiritual master who opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. So what is this ignorance we're talking about? The ignorance of the real purpose of human life, or the real nature of human life. The so-called science and technology is just another extension of this ignorance. So the Shudras and Vaishyas, they sustain the physical aspect of the society, but they are not considered significant because the real nature of human life is spiritual, and the real objective of human life is to attain spiritual freedom, which the Shudras and Vaishyas cannot provide. So from a material perspective, they are important, but not so much from a spiritual perspective. Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are expected to take sannyas after a particular age. Higher Varnas. Actually, anyone can take. There is no restriction as such. There are no rules which restrict Vaishyas, Shudras, or anyone. It is just their own nature which is a restriction. For example, in a university, some students may be honors graduates, and some students may be struggling to even pass the examinations. And yet there would be some students who don't even qualify. So these are different grades based on their intellectual levels. There is no, university does not place any restriction that no, we will not allow such and such person to graduate. If such and such person can qualify himself, he can easily graduate. So the Varnashram system is based on the characteristics and the nature of the living entities. So, in this way, Draupadi stopped Karna from moving further, and she was married to Arjuna. Now, Arjuna, after he won the hand of Draupadi, he was dressed as a Brahmana. Of course, they were also not knowing who this person is. Arjuna did not go there as a prince. He went there as an impoverished Brahmana. But after he won that competition, Drupad was obliged to marry his daughter. And of course, she got married to him. Then all the kings and the princes assembled there attacked Arjuna with all their weapons. And Arjuna could easily defeat them. Now, in this particular instance, Arjuna, now this is the end time of Pandavas. This is the very end time of their life on earth. So at this stage, we typically see in this world that when end is coming, then people are remembering their family, they're remembering their home, their wealth, and so many other things. But Arjuna is not remembering that. Arjuna is not lamenting that now he has to leave this world. Arjuna is not lamenting that he could not do more in this world, he could not fulfill his ambitions. But Arjuna is lamenting the absence of Krishna. In this particular instance, he is not remembering Draupadi, nor is he remembering his wedding with Draupadi. He is remembering that how in such a dangerous condition, Krishna saved him. Krishna not only provided him with the ability to win the hand of Draupadi, but also protect Draupadi when the ferocious kings attacked him. So Arjun is lamenting his break of relationship with Krishna. Arjun is remembering Krishna here. So 2 points Arjun is remembering here. One is that his ability came from Krishna. So he was certainly not proud of his own ability. He's lamenting that now Krishna is gone. So he's not even glorious as a prince or a warrior anymore. His ability came from Krishna and has left with him. And not only that, also that Krishna's mercy is now gone. He's completely bereft of Krishna's association. Arjun was lamentingly remembering the incidents in the absence of the Lord by whose strength only he was so powerful. Now this is the nature of a pure living entity. Krishna is saying in the 4th chapter of Gita that I am the ability in man. 7th chapter he says, I am the ability in man. So it's very easy to remember the Lord. Whenever Krishna says, Rasoham apsu konte, I am the taste of water. I am the light of sun and moon. I am the ability in man. So whenever we see any of these things, we should remember that these are all coming from the Supreme Lord. The real purpose of human life is to understand that we are the spirit soul and we are the servants of the Lord. We are not here to enjoy this life because there is nothing to enjoy here. Even the Pandavas were the emperors of the earth. All the kings of the world paid tributes to them, and yet they know that once Krishna has left this world, there is nothing more left here. There is nothing to be enjoyed. So Pandavas were living on this earth just to execute the mission of the Lord. And as soon as that mission was over, their duties were also over. This is not just applicable to Pandavas. See, whenever we hear a story of any of the scriptures, it could be Christianity, Islam, or it could be the Testaments or anything, we must understand that these are not stories meant for our entertainment. These stories are meant to educate us. They are here to teach us a lesson. We are all living in great danger. Here, Arjuna is specifically mentioning that instance. That by his merciful strength, I was able to vanquish all the lusty princes assembled at the palace of King Drupad. This was a dangerous position. Arjuna is not remembering how glorious he was in defeating the princes. Arjuna is remembering how dangerous the condition was. All these evil princes were there to attack and kill him, to win the hand of Draupadi. But he was protected by Krishna. Arjuna is not saying that, look, I am so wonderful. My skills are so great that I could defeat all of them. Saying, no, by the will of Krishna, I had the ability to defeat those princes. So this is not really a story that he is telling, but he is just glorifying the Lord's mercy on him, that he empowered him to defeat these evil princes. So in this way, we can see that all these stories are here to teach us some lesson, some valuable lesson. That how at every instance we can remember the Lord and our relationship with him. How the Lord empowers the living entity. Actually, in this material world, we see so many atheistic people who claim, where is the Lord? Where do you see? Where is your Krishna? Where can we see him? So this is a great foolishness because we cannot really see Krishna like this. We're not qualified to see. If tomorrow if I go and demand to see the president of Finland, will someone allow me? I can say, here, now I'm in Finland, I want to go and see the president. Well, they'll first ask me my qualification, my purpose. Why do I want to see him? Am I even anybody to see him? So likewise, we cannot ask to see the Lord of the whole universe just like that. Krishna is saying in the 7 chapters, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So even the intelligence is coming from Krishna. Smritir jnanam apohanam. So memory, intelligence, knowledge and forgetfulness, everything is coming from Krishna. The so-called atheistic class of men, the scientists, the doctors, the engineers, they think that they are very intelligent. But even that intelligence is coming from the Lord. And that intelligence is also not very significant because that does not protect us from the real dangers of this life. Birth, old age, disease and death. Yesterday I was reading something on the social media. There is some minister in Russia who is saying that they have this new big missile which no other weapon can counteract. Some Oreshnik or something. And I was just thinking that this is demonic civilization. Just to kill each other. All the intelligence of human beings is just meant to kill each other. One man makes one weapon, another one makes another weapon, bigger one. And then they keep on making bigger and bigger weapons just to kill each other. But no one knows how to stop the process of death. My enemy is dangerous, I will kill him. But why not find a process by which I can stop death, become invincible myself? That process is to understand that I am not this body. Because even if I have the strongest missile in the world and the biggest missile defense system in the world, no one can stop death. No one can stop death. The great Alexander, he conquered the whole of Asia. He reached up to the borders of India. But then he came back to Greece and he died. Some people say that he died of malaria or some other tropical disease. So where was that greatness gone then? The mighty emperor, the mighty conqueror of the world, he had no strength to conquer simple diseases caused by some mosquitoes or something. So you see, the problem is not that we have this enemy or that enemy. Arjun is not lamenting that there was Karna or Duryodhana. Arjun is lamenting that there is no Krishna. Krishna was his protection. So if we really want to become free from all fears of this world, we have to take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is saying, Sarva dharmana parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Ma shucha. Very important word here. Do not worry. Shucha. The root word is shoka, or do not worry, do not be fearful. Just take my shelter. And that verse is very significant because that's another time when Arjun is facing a significant danger. Again, this Karna, Duryodhana, Vikarna, all these great warriors are again standing in front of him at the beginning of the Mahabharata war. This instance that we are reading has happened after Mahabharata. But in the beginning of Mahabharata itself, Krishna offered protection again. Time and again, whenever there was danger to the Pandavas, Krishna was giving his protection. Arjun is not egoistic to claim that it was his ability that saved him, but he's always claiming that it was Krishna who protected him. So when he says that my ability came from Krishna, Krishna has confirmed that already in the Bhagavad Gita. So the ability of any kind in any living entity is only coming from the Supreme Lord. And when that shelter is withdrawn, we just see death. Then the living entity is immediately vanquished. So I still remember like 10, 15 years ago, this great aircraft, this Dreamliner came, Boeing 787 Dreamliner, marvel of technology. There were so many videos and so many things. And now just a few months ago, the plane just crashed. Now someone is blaming someone is blaming someone else. But so much of intelligence. Do you have any estimate of how many hours go into designing an aeroplane of that size? Thousands of engineers spend millions of hours to design one aeroplane. And it's a marvel of technology. And yet, it's just a flying coffin. Death can come at any instant. Medical science still doesn't know. It's so interesting. There's a whole branch of medicine called oncology, to study cancer. And there are thousands of researchers all over the world researching cancer. They are like mathematicians, biologists, biochemists, physicists studying cancer. Someone is studying the mathematical model of cancer, studying the biological aspects of cancer. There are even people studying the psychology behind cancer. And yet, we still don't know what causes cancer. No one knows. A man smokes cigarettes all his life and nothing happens. Another man smokes one cigarette and then he gets lung cancer. No one really knows. So all our Jada Vidya, all our material sciences are offering us no protection against death. There is no protection against birth, old age, disease, and death. Birth is a horrific process. Any of the ladies who have children here, they can tell you how enjoyable giving birth is actually. So many times ladies just die. Just day before yesterday, there was some news that a lady in Finland died during childbirth. It's such a horrific process. Old age. Who can avoid old age? Who wants to have white hair on the head? Who wants to have wrinkles on the face? And yet, even the biggest of Hollywood stars or the president of America has to become old. No one can escape that. Who can escape diseases? Cancer we just discussed. And there are a million other diseases. No one really knows. And who can escape death? Impossible. No one has escaped death. So what is the use of all this science and technology if we cannot escape death? If we cannot become free from fear? Even now, If you see YouTube, it's full of videos of great danger that is coming. Economies are crashing, great militaries are moving now. There's a danger that any moment a world war can break out and terrific destruction will take place. There is some astrologer in India who's going completely nuts talking about Mahapralaya, some great destruction coming, that everything will be destroyed. 70% of the population will be killed across the world. So, where is our science and technology helping us? Actually, our science and technology is accelerating this process. We are becoming more and more anxious and we are becoming less and less peaceful. And not only that, we have created very dangerous weapons which can kill us at any moment. So, actual purpose of human life is to become free. You know, Krishna is saying, Ma Shucha, become free from fear. But you don't become free from fear by engaging in mental gymnastics. In the beginning of Mahabharata, if we see the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Duryodhan was very fearful. He was very fearful when he saw the great armies of Pandavas there. So he immediately went into word jugglery. Oh, you know, he was talking to the old warriors. You know, don't be affectionate to your students now. Pandavas are nice, but don't be affectionate to them. They may be very nice, but don't be affectionate. They are your enemies. Then he's talking to Bhishma Dev that, okay, you know, now you be very alert. Then he's talking to the younger men. Oh, this Bhishma and Drona are old, you please protect them. And he says, oh, the enemy is very strong, but we are also very strong. He's just trying to diplomatically adjust everyone, make everyone alert. But what is Arjun doing at the same time? This is Duryodhan. He's depending on his own power to fight this war. And on the other side, there is Arjun. And what is Arjun saying? My dear Krishna, you are engaging me in this ghastly warfare. Do you think it is right? Do you think this will be dharma? By your mercy, I know I will win it. But will it be the right thing to do? Will it be all right to kill so many men? I mean, it sounds like dharma, but killing of so many Kshatriyas here. Duryodhan may be evil, or his brothers may be evil, but there are a million other warriors who are not evil, who are just here because circumstances have forced them. So is it all right to kill them? So at this stage, Arjun is worried about dharma. He's compassionate. He's not worried about his own death. At no point in Mahabharata, Arjun is fearful of death. Even now, he's not fearing death. But he's wondering whether dharma will be protected or not. And what is dharma? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever the Lord puts by his own example, that is dharma. Whatever he says or does, that is dharma. Elsewhere, in the third chapter of Gita, it is mentioned that grains come from rains. Rains come from yajna. Yajna comes from the scriptures, from dharma, and scriptures come from the Supreme. So everything originates from Supreme, especially dharma. So Arjun was also worried about protecting the Lord in this circumstance, in that sense. So this is the difference between a divine and a demonic person. The demonic person is always worried about his own selfish interests, but the divine person is more worried about dharma or the Supreme Lord. So that is the purpose of life. So Arjun, even though he was also a qualified person materially, Arjun was also very qualified, but still his main concern was Krishna, not the kingdom of the earth, not even his own abilities. So that is the instruction of the scriptures, that we should completely surrender ourselves to the Supreme, because all our ability, in fact, indeed our very existence, comes from the Supreme. And how do we realize the Supreme? Simply, Nana Makari Bhavda Nitya Sarvashaktis, Tatrarpita Niyamatah Smaranena Kala, Eta Drishi Tava Kripa Bhagwan Mamapi, Durdeva Idrasham Ihajani Nanuraga. That Lord has many, many names, and all of them are equally potent. And there are no rules and regulations for this chanting, nor is there even a specific time. But our only misfortune is that we have na anuraga, we have no attraction, we have no attachment to these names. So if we somehow or the other simply develop attachment to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyev, 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 Gatiranyatha. Kalo Nastyev, Gatiranyatha. In this age of Kali, there is nothing else to do, just chant the holy names. This is the process of yajna by which one can realize the Supreme Lord very easily. But of course, this chanting is not a cheap thing. It should not be done lightly. Chanting should be done in a mood of prayer, in a mood of worship. Understanding the great dangers of the material world and seeking protection from the Supreme Lord, or as Srila Prabhupada puts it, crying like a child helplessly for his mother. So cry helplessly for the Supreme Lord. You don't really need to worship Krishna alone. You can worship any forms of the Lord. Namna Makari Bahuda. Many types. All the religious processes are meant to realize the Supreme only. Some are a bit more difficult, some are easier. But all are meant to realize the Lord. But the only process is surrender to the Supreme Lord. What we are offering is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Anyone is free to take it. So please take it and perfect your life. But do not waste your time in this material world because death will come very soon. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Yes.
As we have started from the incident that Lord Krishna left this planet after completing his the planetary vilas, so there is so much of misconceptions going on in people that Lord left his body and his soul went to his Golok, and Arjun did some cremation or something of his body, and then there was his heart not unburned, and then it was taken to Jagannath Puri, and then it is fitted inside Lord Jagannath. So I want you to please
Clarify this.
Clarify this.
Okay, the Lord is creating the whole world, so why can't He just create a body? So yes, that incident does take place. That hunter, he shoots the arrow, and that arrow hits the Supreme Lord, and the Lord seemingly leaves his body. But of course, the same people don't mention how Lord Balaram left his body. Lord Krishna did not leave his body in the form of Krishna. He was in the form of four-handed Narayana at that time. When actually the last instructions were given to Maitreya and Vidur. Actually, Maitreya and Uddhav. And then from Maitreya, Vidur heard further instructions. And then,
Because there is also the description that Lord's body and soul is not different in Bhagavad Gita. That Lord's body and soul is not different like of ours.
yes,
The body is transcendental and it's always in the form of a teenager or the
Yes.
child. So it has no effect of death, disease, or birth, anything. So, and there is also mention, I think, that his body turned into a light and it was entering inside the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. So,
no, what Srimad Bhagavatam mentions, I can just tell you, 11th canto, this is very clearly mentioned. The Lord left behind a body after giving the final instructions to Maitreya. Actually, it's a very interesting point there, but that instruction is actually not about the death of Krishna or something.
yeah.
That's actually about Maitreya, that instance. So Maitreya was a great sage. He was well accomplished and he was a Brahmavadi. He had tremendous amount of knowledge, but he had one shortcoming. Maitreya still did not possess the love of Godhead. He had not fully surrendered to the Lord. He was still proud of his learning. So Maitreya, when he was passing through, because sages always keep traveling. So Maitreya, when he was passing through this Prabhas Kshetra, he happened to reach that place where the Lord was leaving his body and speaking to Uddhav. At that time, Maitreya heard the instructions that Krishna was giving to Uddhav before his final departure. And in this way, Maitreya's perfection was completed. Maitreya became more perfect because he then developed pure love of Godhead. And Maitreya, in turn, gave this knowledge to Vidura. He was the spiritual master. He became the spiritual master of Vidura. In this way, the knowledge was transmitted. So this is actually the significance of this event. The final instructions of the Lord to Uddhav and Maitreya. And why does the Lord leave a body like that? Lord Balaram, he took the form of a great white snake and he entered into Saraswati. Okay, so that's very mystical, so no one wants to talk about that. But let's talk about what Krishna did. Please understand one thing. The scriptures, especially Mahabharata, Ramayana, and to a certain extent Bhagavatam, they contain many instances which may appear very confusing. If you see Mahabharata, actually if you read Mahabharata, it's very confusing. It's very difficult to understand who's good or who's evil. We have spoken about Karna today. How can we say that Karna was evil and Arjun was good? Actually, we don't have any objective metric for that. But if we understand the perspective of Gita, Bhagavatam, then we can see that Karna was evil. Otherwise, Karna was very valorous. He was very brave. Karna was very generous. He even gave away his own armor, knowing that his death would come. And Karna sacrificed his great weapon because Ghatotkacha was running riot. So we cannot really say Karna was evil, but we can understand Karna is evil because Karna rejects Krishna. The moment we see the perspective of Krishna, Mahabharata, or if we see the perspective of Lord Ram, Ramayana becomes very easy to understand. So Mahabharata, for example, all the complexity or the grey areas of Mahabharata are immediately clarified once we see the perspective of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada specifically mentions that the whole purpose of Mahabharata is actually to deliver Bhagavad Gita. The story of Mahabharata itself is not relevant. It is just a Gramya Katha. It is just gossip. It's just a story of some ladies and kings. It has no spiritual significance. But Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita makes Krishna the hero of Mahabharata. Otherwise, if you read Mahabharata, Krishna is a minor character. The great emperors or the Kurus, Krishna came from the Yadu Vansh. Yadu Vanshis are like, you have like the whole of Finland, and you have, say, a small principality of Oulu or Rihimaki, and there's some small governor there. What will be his position? Who will know about the governor of, say, Rihimaki or some small town? That was the position of Yadus. Mathura was a very small town. Magadh was much bigger. But Krishna is the hero of Mahabharata because he is the supreme lord. But Mahabharata, see, there are many people who are actually demonic, but they know the scriptures. Many, like Ravana or Duryodhana himself, they were great learned scholars. But these stories, they are meant to separate the divine and the demonic. Like in India, for example, the name Karna is much more popular than Arjun. Every second guy you will meet will be a Karan or Karan or Karan. I was born in Kashmir and the king of Kashmir was Maharaj Karan Singh. And it's considered glorious, oh, my name is Karan. In fact, a devotee godbrother of mine, his name was, Karan. I was like, you're a devotee, how can you call yourself Karan? So you see, because a lot of Hindus still think that Karan was a great hero. But if you study Mahabharata, if you study Bhagavatam, you'll realize that Karan was actually quite an insignificant character, really. There were many great kings there. Satyaki, Shalya, Shalva, they were great warriors. Karna was, yes, he was an archer, but not really a very significant character of Mahabharata. So these little deviations in scriptures are created so that only the pure devotees will understand these hymns. Hare Krishna. Right, so there's one last question we could take. Okay. Oh yes. Yes.
Is there any difference to be bad or evil? Because we are so low grade. I feel I'm like a character, very profound. So it's no. I feel it's no difference to separate the people that good and evil, but they're focusing on Krishna instead.
See, this concept of good or evil or dark or light, these are all just relativities, dualities. Vedas do not really consider these things. This is like we are taking, like more you can say we are taking a biblical reference here of good and evil. In reality, there is absolute truth and there is relative truth. There is truth and there is false. The truth is the supreme. Atma is truth, Krishna is truth. Material world is not truth. When you are in the material domain, you are not in truth. You may want to call that evil because then you are just on your own. But when you are on a spiritual platform, you are in absolute truth. Then that is good. When we what we call light, Jyoti, that is absolute truth, that is spiritual. So there is spiritual and material, not good or evil. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much everyone. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.